Hello! Today we're getting started to learn the practical lessons with 3D modeling. To guide you with this subject will seminar teacher Domina Inessa. Today's seminar topic is the concept of three-dimensional space as part of a volumetric modeling program. Setting of Workspace. After completing this chapter, you'll be able to understand the Autodesk 3D Max interface components, use controls for creating or modifying objects, understand Viewport navigation controls. Welcome to the world of Autodesk 3D Max, an advanced application that is used to create still or animated 3D models and objects. With the help of this application, you can create realistic scenes by modifying objects, applying maps and materials to a scene, assigning environment to a scene, adding lights and cameras, and so on. Before working with Autodesk 3D Max, you should have the basic knowledge of various tools and commands available in this software. In this chapter you will learn the basic features of Autodesk 3D Max. Start window. This tab is chosen by default in the Welcome screen. In this tab you can open a recent file from the list of the recent files. Choose the Browse button located below the list of recent files to open file other than recent files. Various startup templates are also provided in this tab. You can create a new scene by using the startup templates. To create a new template, first set up the scene and then save the scene at desired location. The default location to save this file is C, Program Files, Autodesk, 3D Max 2016, Startup Templates. Next, choose Open Template Manager from the Startup Templates area of the Welcome screen. The Template Manager dialog box will be displayed. In this dialog box, select the scene file. The Open File dialog box will be displayed. Select the .max file that is saved earlier and choose Open. You can also select Project Folder and Workspace for this template by using the options in this dialog box. Next, choose the Add New button located at the bottom of this dialog box. Now, enter the name of the template in the text box located at the top of this dialog box and choose Done. The newly created template will be added in the Startup Templates area. Starting a new file in Autodesk 3D Max. To start a new file in Autodesk 3D Max, choose the Application button at the top left corner of the interface. The application menu will be displayed. Next, choose New All from the application menu. A new file will be displayed in the 3D Max interface. The new file will clear all the contents of the current file. Alternatively, press the Ctrl+N keys. The new scene dialog box will be displayed as shown in figure. By default, the New All Ready button is selected in this dialog box. Choose the OK button and a new file will be displayed. You can also reuse the objects from the current scene in the new scene. Select the Keep Objects Ready button in the New Scene dialog box to keep only the objects from the current scene for the new file. However, on selecting this Ready button, all the animation keys and links between the objects will be cleared. To keep the objects and the links between them, select the Keep Objects and Hierarchy Ready button. However, In this case, the animation keys will be deleted. Before starting a new scene in Autodesk Softmax, it is recommended to reset Autodesk Softmax and start afresh. By doing so, you will be able to reset all settings for the new scene. To reset Autodesk Softmax, choose Reset from the application menu. The Softmax message box will be displayed as shown in figure. The message box will ask if you really want to reset Softmax. Choose the Yes button. The Softmax will be reset. On next figure, you can see different screen components of Autodesk Softmax interface screen. Here you can see location of, for instance, application menu, main toolbar, title bar, command panel, and so on. All these components we'll discuss next. Menu bar. The menu bar is located just below the title bar. Refer to figure and contains various pull-down menus. Some of the pull-down menus are standard window menus such as Edit, Help, and so on, while others are Softmax pull-down menus such as Create, Modifiers, Animation, Graph Editors, Rendering, Customize, and so on. The title of each pull-down menu indicates the purpose of commands in the menu. When you choose one of the menu titles, Autodesk Softmax displays the corresponding pull-down menu. Each menu consists of a collection of commands. In a pull-down menu, the dots after a command indicates that a dialog box will be displayed on choosing that command. An arrow next to a command indicates that a cascading menu will be displayed on placing the cursor on that command. For some of the commands in the pull-down menus, the keyboard shortcuts are displayed on their right side as shown in figure. Application menu. The application menu is used to manage the files created in Softmax. To display the application menu, choose the Application button on the top left on the Softmax screen. Figure on the slide displays the Application menu. This menu comprises the most commonly used file management options. The Send To option provides interoperability with other Autodesk applications such as Motion Builder, Maya, and Mudbox. When you choose the Send To option from the Application menu, a cascading menu will be displayed. Choose the desired option from the cascading menu. A submenu will be displayed with the following options: Send as new scene, Update current scene, Add to current scene, and Select previously sent objects. You can choose the option from this menu as per your requirement. On the right of the menu is the Recent Documents page that provides information about the files that were previously saved in Softmax. Quick Access Toolbar. The Quick Access Toolbar comprises of the most commonly used file management buttons, as shown in figure. Those buttons are also available in the Application menu. Apart from the commonly used buttons, the Quick Access Toolbar also contains the Redo Scene Operation and Undo Scene Operation buttons. Workspaces. The Workspaces includes toolbars, menus, the ribbon, hotkeys, quad menus, and Viewport layouts presets. You can switch between different workspaces by choosing the required option from the Workspaces drop-down list located on the Quick Access toolbar. Refer to figure. To create a new workspace, you need to change the interface setup as required and then choose the Manage Workspace option from the Workspace drop-down list. The Manage Workspace dialog box will be displayed. In the dialog box, choose the Save as New Workspace button. The Create New Workspace dialog box will be displayed. Enter the name for the workspace in the name text box in the New Workspace area, and then choose the OK button to close the dialog box. Next, close the Manage Workspace dialog box. The newly created workspace will be active now. Select the Default with Enhanced Menus option from the Workspace drop-down list. The third Max interface with the enhanced menus will be displayed. This workspace consists of features such as improved layout, detailed tool tips, and are linked to the relevant help topics in the documentation. Drag and drop support for menu, categories, and menu command search using keyboard. Figure on this slide shows the Enhance Light and Cameras pull-down menu. Toolbars. In Max, various commands can be invoked by using the buttons or tools in the toolbars. By default, only the main toolbar will be displayed on Autodesk Max screen. However, you can display other toolbars such as Snaps, Axis Constraints, Extras, Mass Effects toolbar, and so on in the Max interface. Also, you can move, resize, and undock them based on your requirements. To display those toolbars, right-click in the blank area on the main toolbar. A shortcut menu will be displayed with the names of all toolbars, as shown in figure. Next, choose the required toolbar. The chosen toolbar will be displayed on the screen. Also, you can hide any of the displayed toolbars by choosing its label from the Shortcuts menu. The main toolbar provides quick access to many tools and dialog boxes, such as Select and Link, Unlink Selection, Select Object, Material Editor, and so on. This toolbar is docked just below the menu bar. You will learn more about the tools available in various toolbars in the later chapters. Command Panel. By default, the Command Panel is docked on the right side of the Max screen. You can say it is the core of this program, where located all creation and related with creation commands. There are 6 tabs in the Command Panel: Create, Modify, Hierarchy, Motion, Display, and Utilities, as shown in figure. Most of the Max modeling and animation tools are placed in those tabs. The tools in the Command Panel are used to create, modify, and animate the objects. Each tab has several layouts that can be expanded or collapsed. Those tabs in the Command Panel are discussed next. Mostly in Architect and Designing field, in 3D modeling, we will use 2 first tabs, the Create tab and the Modify tab. The Create tab is chosen by default. The tools in Create tab are used to create objects, cameras, lights, and so on. The Modify tab is used to modify the selected objects by modifying their parameters, applying various modifiers and editing the mesh as well as polygonal and batch objects. The Hierarchy tab is used to control the links in the hierarchy joints and inverse kinematics. The Motion is used to control the animation controllers and trajectories. The Display tab is used to hide and unhide the objects in the viewport. The Utilities is used to access various utility programs. Viewports. When you start Autodesk 3ds Max, the default interface screen appears. This interface consists of 4 equal sizes viewports surrounded by tools and commands. Refer to figure. Those viewports are labeled as top, front, left, and perspective. The viewports in Autodesk 3ds Max are used to create 3D scenes. Also, they enable you to view a scene from different angles. When you create an object in the viewport, the top, front, and left viewports will display the top, front, and left orthographic views of the object, respectively. You can loop between viewports to make a particular viewport active by using the Windows + Shift keys. The active viewports in 3D Max is highlighted with a yellow border. Only one viewport can remain active at a time. All commands and actions in 3ds Max are performed in the active viewport. You can switch between the viewports by using the Windows + Shift keys. However, if only one viewport is maximized, then on repeatedly pressing the Windows + Shift keys, a window with available viewports will be displayed. When the Windows + Shift keys are released, the window will disappear and the viewport you have chosen will become active. You can modify the size of the viewports by dragging the intersection of the viewports on the splitter bars. To restore the original layout, right-click on the intersection of the dividing lines. A shortcut menu will be displayed as shown in. Choose the Reset Layouts option from the shortcut menu. The viewports will be resorted to their default size. On the bottom left corner of each viewport, there is a walled space tripod as shown in figure. The walled space tripod has 3 axes, X, Y, and Z, which are displayed in red, green, and blue colors respectively. The tripod always refers to the world coordinate system regardless of the local coordinate system. View cube is placed at the top right corner of the viewport. The view cube provides visual feedback of the current orientation of the viewport. It is important to note that the local coordinate system defines local position of an object in a scene, whereas the world coordinate system uses fixed axes to define the position of all objects in the world space. Each viewport has a grid placed in it. Refer to figure. It is like a graph paper, in which all the lines intersect each other at right angles. You can modify the spacing in the grids. The grids in all viewports act as an aid to visualize the spacing and distance while creating objects. Also, they are used as a construction plane to create and align the objects. You can also use the grids as the reference system while using the snap tools to align this object. You can also hide the grid in the viewport. To do so, press the G key. The grid will disappear from the viewport. To make the grid visible, press G again. At the top left corner of each viewport, there are 3 viewport labels: General Viewport Label, Point of View Viewport Label, and Shading Viewport Label. Refer to figure. When you click on any of the viewport labels, the corresponding layout will be displayed as shown in figure. The options in those shortcut menus are used to modify various aspects of the active viewport. You can configure the active viewport by using the options in the General Viewport Label menu. Choose the Configure Viewports option from this menu. The Viewport Configuration dialog box will be displayed. Various options in this dialog box can be used to configure the viewport. You already know that 4 equally sized viewports are displayed on the screen. However, you can change the viewport configuration based on your requirement. To change the basic configuration of the viewports, choose the Layout tab on the Viewport Configuration dialog box. Refer to figure. In the Layout tab, you can specify the division method of the viewports. There are 14 types of configuration displayed at the top in the tab. Select the required configuration and then choose the OK button. The viewports will be displayed according to the configuration that you have selected in the Viewport Configuration dialog box. You can change the default viewport to any other viewport type available, such as bottom, right, and so on, by using the option in the POV Viewport Label menu. To do so, click on the POV Viewport label. A layout will be displayed. Choose the viewport that you want to display. You can also use the Shading Viewport Label menu for defining the type of shading displayed in the viewport. The different type of shading types are realistic, shaded, consistent colors, wireframe, edged faces, bounding box, hidden line, and so on. However, some of the shading types are available in the cascading menu of the Stylized option. Refer to figure. Those shading types are graphite, color pencil, ink, and so on. You can choose any of the options to change the shading. Viewport Navigation Controls. The tools at the lower right corner of the Autodesk third-mark screen are known as Viewport Navigation Controls. These tools are used to control the display and navigation of the viewport. The tools displayed in the Viewport Navigation Controls depend on the viewport selected. For example, if the camera viewport is selected, its corresponding tools will be displayed in the Viewport navigation control. Those tools are discussed in detail in the letter. To adjust the view of an object in a viewport, you need to be familiar with the tools in the Viewport navigation controls area. Note that some of the tools mentioned below are available in a flyer which will be displayed when you click on the arrow on the lower right corner of the tool icon. Those tools are discussed next. The Zoom tool is used to increase or decrease the magnification in the active viewport. You can zoom in by pressing the left mouse button and dragging the cursor up. Similarly, you can zoom out by pressing the left mouse button and then dragging the cursor down. The Zoom All tool is the same as the zoom, with the only difference that this tool zooms the display in all the view for viewports simultaneously. The Zoom Extends tool is used to view all objects in the active viewport. The Zoom Extends Selected tool is used to view all selected objects in the active viewport. The Zoom Extends All tool, same as the Zoom Extends tool, with the only difference that this tool is used to view all objects in all viewports. The Zoom Extends All Select tool is the same as the Zoom Extend Select tool, with the only difference that this tool is used to view all selected objects in all viewports. The Zoom Region is used to define the area to magnify it and view it in the current viewport. The area to magnify it is specified by a rectangle created by dragging the cursor. The Zoom Region tool is not available in the camera viewport. The Field of View tool is available only in the perspective and camera viewports. It is used to change the field of view of the scene in these viewports. More the field of view of a camera, more will be the visibility of the scene, and vice versa. The Pan View tool is used to pan the scene in the viewport. This tool enables you to display the contents of the viewport that are outside the display area without changing the magnification of the current viewport. The 2D Pan Zoom mode is available in perspective and camera viewports only. On invoking this tool, you can pan and zoom the scene outside the rendering frame. In other words, the position of the camera doesn't change when you pan or zoom in the scene. If the 2D Pan Zoom mode tool is chosen, an additional viewport label appears on the right of the other viewport labels. The Walkthrough is available in perspective and camera viewports only. It allows you to navigate through those viewports by pressing a set of shortcut keys. On invoking this tool, the cursor changes into a circle with a dot in its center. Press the arrow keys to navigate through the viewport. On pressing the arrow keys, the cursor shows a directional arrow indicating the navigation direction. The Orbit tool is used to rotate the viewport around its view center. This enables you to see a three-dimensional view of the objects in the perspective viewport. You can also rotate the top, front and left viewports, but in such cases the respective viewports becomes the orthographic viewport. The Orbit Selected tool is the same as the Orbit tool, with the only difference that it is used to rotate the viewport around the center of the current selection. The Orbit Sub-Object tool is the same as the Orbit tool, with the only difference that it is used to rotate the viewport around the center of the current sub-object selection. The Maximize Viewport toggle is used to maximize the active viewport so that you can view only the active viewport instead of all the 4 viewports. The Dolly Camera tool is available in Camera Viewport only. It is used to move the camera toward and away from the target. If the camera passes through the target, the camera flips 180 degrees and moves away from its target. The Dolly Target tool is only available if viewport's camera is a target camera. This tool is used to move the target of the camera towards and away from it. The Dolly Camera Target tool is only available if viewport's camera is a target camera. This tool is used to move both the camera and its target. The Roll Camera tool is available in Camera Viewport only. It rotates the target camera about its line of sight and rotates a free camera about its local z-axis. Snap Settings. Snaps restrict the movement of the cursor to a specific part of an object or grid. There are 4 buttons available for snap settings in the main toolbar: Snap Toggle, Angle Snap Toggle, Parsed Snap Toggle, and Spinner Snap Toggle. If you right-click on the Snap Toggle, Angle Snap Toggle, or Parsed Snap Toggle button, the Grid and Snap Setting dialog box will be displayed as shown. In this dialog box you can select different parts of the objects or grid where the cursor will snap to. You can turn the snap command on and off by pressing the S key or by choosing the Snap Toggle tool. If you choose and hold the Snap Toggle tool, a flag will be displayed. This flag contains the 2D Snap, 2.5 Snap and 3D Snap tools, which can be chosen to snap the cursor. Unit Setup. The unit setup in 3D Max is used to specify the units that help in measuring the geometry in a scene. You can change the setting for units by using the Customize pull-down menu. To do so, choose Customize Unit Setup from the menu bar. The Unit Setup dialog box will be displayed as shown in figure. By default, the generic Units radio button is selected in the Display Unit Scale area. In this dialog box, you can select any other radio button as the bare requirement from the Display Unit Scale area of this dialog box and then choose the OK button. The limits in all the spinners in 3D Max will be modified accordingly. Setting grid spacing. To set the spacing between the visible grids in the viewports, choose Tools, Grids and Snaps, Grid and Snap Settings from the menu bar. The Grid and Snap Setting dialog box will be displayed. Choose the Home Grid tab in this dialog box as shown in figure. In the Grid Dimensions area, set the value in the Grid Spacing Spinner to specify the size of the smallest square of the grid. The value in the spinners will be measured in the units that you specify in the Unit Setup dialog box. Set the value in the Major Lines every nth grid line spinner to specify the number of squares between the major lines in the grid. Set the value in the Perspective View Grid Extend spinner to specify the size of the home grid in the Perspective Viewport. Note that the default grid displayed in the viewports on starting thirds max is known as the home grid. In the Dynamic Update area, the Active Viewport Radio button is selected by default. It is used to update the Active Viewport according to the new values of the Grid and Snap Setting dialog box. Select All Viewports Radio button to update all viewports simultaneously according to the new values that you set in the spinners of the Grid and Snap Setting dialog box. Conclusions. On this point, we're going to finish this practice work where we were introduced to this interface of Autodesk 3ds Max. Here, we reached our aims: to understand the Autodesk 3ds Max interface components, to use controls for creating or modifying objects, understand viewports navigation controls. In next seminar, we'll introduce with standard and extended primitives and operation with objects. See you later.